Okay, guys, here we go. On to episode 2. If you remember where we left off last time, I was working on getting the frame and the outline of this thing the way I wanted it so that I could add a ramp. Going to be driving the unsorted ore and material up on this ramp on a wheelbarrow. So instead of like a square design, we're going for it's going to end up being a T-shaped design. So I can have the ramp on one side, the sorting table in the middle, and then the overflow down the sluice on the other side. So it was about this time when I got all this stuff stood up and I was working on it like this that I started to feel self-conscious about what my neighbors might think. And I was correct. They all thought I was crazy. I think every neighbor in the neighborhood stopped by to ask me what I was building. Some called it a castle. I think others were just curious and in disbelief. And, this is a big piece of thing out here in my driveway. At this point, it just looks like a thing. And I was kind of reminded of that saying where, a millionaire won't make fun of you for starting a business, or a bodybuilder won't judge you for going to the gym for the first time. And they say it's always the people who don't do anything that will always have something to say.
Yep.
So I think to a lot of people, my goals are kind of strange and
your mail fell.
They don't see the same direction I do. So I did get some kind of weird, raised eyebrows and stuff from people during this whole build. But at the end, it's really not that big of a deal. So here you see just my daily life. Juliet helping me pick up the mail, and Keegan looked like Hugh Hefner out here one day with his tripod. He was playing videographer. So like I said, it kind of felt good to take some of these posts down and make this thing more organized. Because the neighbors were starting to look at me funny. This area that I'm working on screwing these 2 posts in, these upright posts, will be the other corners, the 4 corners of where the trays will sit. So I'm spending time putting a lot of screws in here because that's going to be a big weight-bearing area for all the trays. As you can see, my kids were pretty excited out here playing with me some days, and they are enjoying spending time with their dad as they build this project. Moving on to what you see with me grabbing that black tote. Those are going to be, there's going to be 2 of them over where Keegan's standing right now. That's going to be the water collection tote down from the sluice. And then the other side is going to be a same tote that collects all my discarded rock after they've been sorted from crystal. So we're going to finish up putting the decking down underneath the tray area, and then you'll see me moving on and working towards getting those 2 black collection totes mounted. That's the reason why after you see me put down this couple pieces of decking, I don't finish the decking. The next problem I worked on after this is on those collection bins, which you see right here. So I decided that they needed some more stabilization, something to be a little bit more sturdy when I mount them in there, because they're going to be full of rock. The other one's going to be full of water. So I'm getting some 1x2 wood and making a square brace. You can see that the bin kind of bows out right here too, so this is helping square them up a little bit also. The wood brace was kind of splitting with me just putting the screws straight in, so I got to pre-drilled those holes also. I'll let you guys guess if I drilled straight into my finger as well. Speaking of industrial accidents, here's another near miss of me trying to cut this bracket with a chop saw. This made me nervous, cutting these brackets like this, so decided to put some gloves on. That's a good idea. And then we'll cut it from a different angle and it'll go much more smoothly. These little brackets that I'm cutting, I put on the corners of the black bins. There's me taking a curious look on the type of brackets that I use to put the cross beams for the flooring area, realizing that they were not the right type of structural member that I needed. And so early in the video, you saw me drilling in a series of those to support the 2x4s. And later on, I had to go back and take about 50 of them that I put in and change them out for the other type of hanging, joist hangers. So that's where the majority of the time and energy was spent for this episode, was finalizing that layout and then developing a system of how I was going to get the collection bins installed onto the wash plant. And as you can see, it's hanging underneath. So I'm going to finish up the spacing I needed right here with a couple stacked 2x4s and a 2x6 that it's going to ride on. And then you'll see me slide this tray in, throw a handle on it, and I'll give you a look at how the cart works. So all the work you see in this episode took me about 2 weeks to complete. Not 2 weeks of straight work. I do have a full-time job which I work 3 days a week, and then another part-time job which I work 2 days every 2 weeks or so. So this portion of the build fell on a length of time that I wasn't really able to get out and work on it too often, but it's kind of nice to have time in between these major portions of the build like this, because it gives me a lot of time to sit and think about how I wanted the finer details, like getting these tray systems set up. So when it was time to come and take a look at it, it's just needed some measurements and a little bit of building, and it was good to go. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next one, and thanks for hanging out.